Peace and great bliss. Peace. It's a beautiful day. It's a new day. What is today's date? It's Tuesday, April 20th, 2021. I'm surprised I got the year right. So welcome everyone. Welcome. Have my yerba mate. What's in your cup this morning? This morning, I have in my cup some yerba mate, a little bit of ashwagandha, and a little bit of not cayenne. Although cayenne would have been great, but I want to get back up and go over there. I have some cinnamon, and a little bit of powdered maple syrup. Welcome, Pablo. Good. Okay, so I wanted to go ahead and just get started today, keep the momentum rolling, and let's see, where's my lighter? I always like to light a stick of sandalwood. I'm an incense person. I grew up in a house where my mother was constantly burning incense, the good natural stuff, and she always attributes that to the fact that we rarely were sick when we were little. I don't ever remember being. There was only one time, let's see, I remember when I was maybe 5 or 6, I don't know, I think I might have had the mumps. I know I had a lot of inflammation and I couldn't swallow. And I remember being in the bed for probably almost a week. Never went to the doctor for being sick when I was a kid. So I grew up with the same habit, burning incense. And I like this morning star incense. It's very light and subtle, but the scent is definitely there. It's Japanese incense. So if you want something that's very, very light and subtle, check out Japanese incense, traditional. Okay, so we have a card here. I just opened up the deck. This is from the New Earth. Oh, one deck is from the New Earth, I think, or no, this is the Power of Now. Who you truly are. Many things in your life matter, but only one thing matters absolutely. You find peace not by rearranging the circumstances of your life, but by realizing who you are at the deepest level. So let's check that out one more time. Many things in your life matter, but only one thing matters absolutely. You find peace not by rearranging the circumstances of your life, but by realizing who you are at the deepest level. And I would go one step further and say that when you truly realize who you are at the deepest level, then naturally the circumstances in your life will begin to change. You know, if you feel that you've been trapped, or you feel that you constantly attract in your life unhealthy relationships, when you find yourself in jobs that are not paying you enough or not honoring who you are, once you really realize who you are, your worth, what you have to offer, then you stop attracting. You stop. And see, when we use the term attracting, it almost makes it like we're a magnet and there's nothing we can do about it and we just attract who we attract. No, you attract because you're attracted to that. And if it's a situation that's not healthy or good for you, you end up in those situations because, it's sort of like the little telltale signs pop up. Well, if I go and work for this particular person, I can already tell at the interview that they don't really value their employees, or they're not really valuing me, but I've been looking for a job and I really need to get a job, so I'm just going to take whatever I can. And, that sense of urgency kicks in due to a sense of lack. And it's the same thing with relationships. You're maybe not necessarily the first date, or maybe the second or third date, you start to see that this person doesn't value you, doesn't appreciate who you are and what you have to offer, and it's always all about them. But you entertain going out more with that person because you're like, oh, well, I'm already here, or well, I don't have the energy to meet someone else. Let me try to make this work. You are downgrading yourself. You're accepting a situation that you know isn't good for you, but because of your fear of what would happen if you didn't accept that job, or if you didn't try to pursue this relationship with this person who right now in your face is interested in you. When you do that, you're not attracting that situation. You're choosing things that are not worthy, situations that do not deserve you. So once you begin to really realize who you are at your deepest level, then you know your worth, and you will no longer accept, attract, or be in any situation that no longer serves you. Welcome, Matthias. Welcome. Welcome. Okay, so we are on hexagram number 14. Great praise gains validation and accolades. And the Osho Zen deck refers to this verse as prosperity, wealth, good fortune, success. Express gratitude by expressing others, material possessions. That is all the part of prosperity. So we'll first look at Kersang Hong's translation of verse 14 of the Yi Ching. And he translates this verse as the great harvest, sign of the great sacrifice. And you have fire over heaven. So we're going to start with the heaven Bagua. We always work our way from the bottom to the top. Make no sense of mutual harm, nor ill will. Come hard times, there should be no enmity. Going somewhere in a big carriage, safe and sound. The Duke pays tribute to the Emperor. Common folks cannot do that. Burn the rainmaker. No blame. Punishment just, punishment firm. Good omen. Blessed by heaven, all goes well. All right, let me make sure I have the live chat up. As I realized yesterday, people were chatting away and I never saw any of that until right before I was about to start exit out of the live stream. So I don't want that to happen again. So let's examine this Bagua translation from Benabel Wen. We're going to look at the heaven Bagua to begin. Break the hexagram down, the Gua. And so the hexagram is called the Gua, and each individual parts of the hexagram, the fire part and the heaven, that is termed Bagua. So the heaven, Bagua, Creation, the creative force, divine yang, strength and creativity. Expansive energy, the sky. Power, authority, the celestial kingdom. The immaterial and intangible, metal is the element. The direction is northwest. Season yellow path, cardinal autumn. Season low shu nine halls, winter solstice. Life aspect, fatherhood, blessings, allies, friends, opportunities. Medically, it's related to the head, brain, spinal cord, nervous system, mental or emotional states. The chakra is the crown. The animal is the horse. Every time I read that archetype, the animal, when I see a horse, in my mind, that horse is running like the wind, and its mane is flowing back, and its legs and the muscles are flexing. So that's a little peek into my mind. The archetype is the philosopher and the sage. The immortal is Han Jiang, patron of musicians, and the empowered state of hexagram of heaven is hexagram number 1. And heaven over, well, it's fire over heaven. If I remember correctly, wasn't yesterday heaven over fire? It's interesting. The more I go through the I Ching and really dive into the Bagua, and the hexagram, the Gua, it really starts, it's like it's slowly beginning to become alive to me. I've been interested in I Ching probably, wow, at least since I've been in my 30s, if not maybe earlier 20s before I had children, but I could never understand the I Ching. The Western translations from people like Baines and all the other men, it just never clicked. It just never clicked until Benabel Wynn's breakdown of the hexagrams of the I Ching. And so her work highly resonates with me. So the fire Bagua, radiance and eminence, innovation and cultivation, giving light, illumination, perspicacity, clarity, rapid movement, the sun, clinging dependent, intellect, logic, and the element, can you guess it? It's fire. The direction is south. The season is yellow path, cardinal summer. The season, low shu nine halls, autumn equinox, life aspect, ambition, honor, fame, reputation. Medically, is related to the eyes, the small intestine, the cardiovascular system, autoimmune, metabolic. The chakra is the heart chakra. So when we look at this and we think of fire, if we think of the heart, it's like our heart is a flaming fire. It's the energy and the intensity of a flaming fire. Animal is the phoenix or the phoenix. The phoenix or the pheasant. The archetype is the general and the minister. The immortal Lu Dong Bin, patron of scholars, the literati, healers, high magic, and invoked for banishing and exorcisms. The empowered state of fire is hexagram 30. And what does Benabel Wynn have to say about this hexagram, her translation of it? Prognostications of a great harvest. Heaven bestows great blessings when you have obeyed the will of the divine. Initiations will not incur any challenges. Be humble and grateful for your blessings, and there should be no guilt in receiving such blessings. You have the resources needed to achieve supreme success and prosperity, to thrive, follow your own path, and most important of all, let others follow theirs. Little station break here for the yerba mate. I like how the cinnamon has now dispersed over the cup right now. And as usual, I have my handmade mug. It's from an artist up in Atlantic Highlands, New Jersey. Okay. So, I saw within this hexagram. Yeah, it is. I love this mug. I really like the design on it. I don't know if you can see the design. If I tilt it too much, it might pour over onto the incense. But yeah, you can see a little bit of the design on the side of it. Reminds me of a dinosaur. Really like this mug a lot. But it is heavy and it is big. It probably holds, I would say, uh, 16 or 20 ounces. I think more like 20 ounces. So I see when I was reading this, the description for this hexagram, be humble. Sometimes people do not understand the phrase be humble. I look at be humble as remember who you are, remember where you came from, and remember that phrase, for the grace of God, there go I. Being humble, we are slow to get angry, slow to hold grudges. Well, you don't want to hold grudges, but sometimes they happen. We always remember who we are and we're grateful. Being humble doesn't mean that you basically lower yourself to the ground and become a doormat and allow other people to walk over you. I just think of being humble as being gracious, graciously remembering who you are and appreciating where you've arrived and where you've come from. Being grateful for your blessings. My mother always says, count your blessings, count your blessings. Even when I'm feeling my most down, I was going to say my downest. My mother is always one for saying, but count your blessings, count your blessings. And she is so right. And I really like this last part of the statement where it says there should be no guilt in receiving such blessings. I remember years ago, this was probably around 2008, maybe 2000, maybe a little earlier than that. It had to have been like 2000. Yeah, no, it was around 2008 when I was first, 2007 is when I became a Reiki master. And I remember I was reaching out on Twitter to get volunteers. I wanted to do Reiki healings for people. And I wanted to experiment doing it at a distance, meaning, nothing is really at a distance. Everything is always with us at one time. Quantum entanglement. We're all connected. But it's when we're within our finite minds and these finite bodies, we think of things as being separate. And so anyway, I was had put out on Twitter that I wanted like 5 people to do Reiki healing sessions for while they slept. So, I had people to volunteer, and I remember there was this one dude. Where was he from? Was it Romania? I think he was from, and he told me that he wanted to volunteer, and I was like, okay, great. And as soon as I told him that I would accept him and the volunteer, he immediately sent me $25. And my immediate reflexive impulse was, oh, no, 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 I'm not worth $25. I can't accept this. Oh, no, I can't take your money. So I immediately reversed it back to him and told him, no, he didn't have to. And then, I later learned it's like you basically rejected a blessing that the universe had for you. You're telling the universe, no, I don't want any prosperity. I don't want any financial wealth. I don't want financial gain. So yeah, it's taken me a good while. And even now, I don't struggle with money as much as I used to, with the idea of money. I guess I grew up, I won't go all into the details, but just put it this way, because of certain influences in my life, I always thought of if you had money, that made you an asshole. put it that way. So maybe some of you can identify with that. So I had to rework my attitude towards money and the implications of, say, even having enough money. And so now I'm at a point in my life, and and the funny thing is, I've never had a complete lack. Whenever, it might have seemed like, oh, I don't have enough, but when that 11th hour came, somehow the universe blessed me from some source, from something, and I would always have exactly what I need. But it took me a while to clear out, that negative karma, those negative thoughts, and to be able to receive financial blessings. And we'll look at the bottom of this verse. Let's see. To thrive, follow your own path, and most important of all, let others follow theirs. To thrive. So if you want the best that your life, not just life in general, but that your life has to offer, that your DNA and that every bit of your atoms and what makes you, what makes C, etc., what makes Pavel, what makes Matthias, and what makes Tamu, exactly, Pavel, follow your bliss. And if you were, I mentioned yesterday about the young lady that I did a card reading for, and she had a royal flush. She had the magician that represented her, and to the one side, the empress, to the other side, she had the high priestess, and then the final kind of word that was brought in from the bone script oracle, the ancient, or the Chinese oracle B.MSc created, was abundance. She had mentioned herself that she was, she recognized that she had these gifts, and she was kind of like fighting herself because of the way she was raised. She wasn't raised to follow her bliss. She was raised to, this is what you do to succeed. This is how your life, how we're taught to, we have to work hard. We have to work a 9 to 5. We have to go work at this company. We have to go to work for someone else in order to have that guaranteed paycheck every week. How many people do you know are just absolutely miserable in their lives because they're stuck doing something that they do not enjoy? How many times have I asked adults, since my 30s, oh, what kind of work do you do? Do you enjoy it? Nah, it's just a job. It pays the bills. And their whole energy plummets when they say that. And I just think to myself, that is the most worstest thing in the entire world, to be in a job, to be doing something for 20, 30, 10, 5, a year, 10, 20, 30, 40 years of something that you absolutely hate because you're so hot in the pursuit of the American dream of, say, owning a house. I would much rather own a piece of land and put a yurt on it than own a house. And we never truly own anything because we have to continue to pay. We can have that house paid off, but if we miss the taxes for a couple of years, that house is going to be taken away from us. Whether it's paid off or not, you're going to lose it. So follow your bliss, because that's the only way that you're going to thrive. All right, I'm sorry. Let me get off my soapbox. I got carried away. But I was just thinking about that girl in her reading, and when she saw it, was just like, wow, the force is with you strong. The force is with you strong, and the force is with all of us strong. Follow your bliss if you truly want to thrive. Pavel says, I know some resident doctors at my job don't. Oh, wow. He said that some of them do not like being a doctor, but their parents forced them down the path. Yeah, and those are the people who, people like that, they become resentful. They become very passive aggressive in their lives. They end up marrying because that's what they're supposed to do. And then they end up cheating on their spouse. They end up hating themselves. They end up becoming alcoholics or, you know, very narcissistic in their approach to everything because they are in such fight or flight mode because they're angry. God bless them. It's like you hope people wake up and realize you have one life. And even if we are reincarnated, most of us don't remember. So it's only now that matters, right now, this moment, and now this moment. And what are the choices we are going to make? What are those choices? Okay, so we are looking at hexagram number 14. We'll see what Brother Brian Brown Walker has to say. This hexagram is called Tayu, possession in great measure. That's how he calls this hexagram. So I see my cell phone is a little bit delayed. So we're going to read what is shared on this hexagram. Those who are steadfastly balanced, humble, and in harmony with the sage inherit everything under the sun. That's awesome. Let's read that. Kind of sums up everything at once, little nugget. Those who are steadfastly balanced, humble, and in harmony with the sage inherit everything under the sun. So steadfastly. That's like, I was never good at grammar. I don't know an adverb I know an adjective and a verb. I think, yeah. So I don't know all of those terms, but steadfastly, that reminds me that you're constantly seeking. You're constantly repositioning yourself to be balanced, because balance is not a once and done deal. You're balancing, you're going back and forth. You're making sure, you might have a little bit of this one day, a little too much of that another day. You move back and forth. You're humble. You know who you are. You remember your upbringing. You remember what your mama taught you. You remember what your great grandmother taught you, which is my big mama. I miss her so much. She was a pretty cool person. And you're in harmony. What does harmony mean? You're in harmony. Your brain, your mind, your thoughts, and your heart, your intellect and your heart are working together. Your brain understands and your heart understands, and the two become one when you're making your decision. You're not just using your intellect and logic and going against your core, what your heart or what your gut is saying. And I think in Japanese they call that kokoro. Kokoro. And I believe that's when the brain, your mind, and your heart become one. That's when you're truly in harmony and in balance. And again, it's not a once and done deal. It's a choice of action every day. It's a choice of action every day. Like for me, I get really out of balance and out of whack when I stay up really late over and over and over again. And I did not get enough sleep. I start to get a little ill. I'll become cranky. I will be in a space where I don't really want to be around a lot of people. I'm an introvert. I need a alone time to kind of rejuvenate and gather my strength. And some people are extroverts. They desire to be around other people and they get their strength from other people. Everyone's different. So let's see what Brother Brown Walker has to say about this hexagram. This is a time of great power and clarity for you when you're looking at fire over heaven. Hold on one second. Got to reposition the legs. And of course, Nala is in my lap. This is a time of great power and clarity for you. By conscientiously following the path of proper principles, you have come into partnership with a higher power and enjoy the influence of the creative everywhere in your life. So, in other words, when you are really embodying hexagram number 14, prosperity, or great praise gains, or possession in great matter, when you are truly embodying that, you are in direct connection with the purest of creative potential in your life. So you're creating amazing relationships, you're creating amazing connections. The first important amazing connection is the divine union with yourself. You're being creative, you're making works of art, or you're excelling at your photography or your computer coding. You're in that state of incredible lightness of being. Nobody can tell you nothing. If you remain modest and balanced now, you will come into possession of prosperity and success. And just remember, prosperity is not just about how much money you have in the bank. It's like your total outlook on everything. Prosperity, uh, success and prosperity in your life. There's always Life is always supporting you. Put it that way. Life is always supporting you. I have been on the path, had veered off my path. I am on my path of making sure, because we can get easily distracted. Other people in our lives, decisions that we make can lead us on a journey where we are breaking that yoga with self, breaking that union with self, and we're feeling it all sorts of ways, being sick to your stomach, having aches and pains, your business isn't going the way you want. But once you realize deeply who you are and you step back on your path and you make sure that your your heart fire is being tended to, that you are expressing yourself through kindness and compassion for self first and then to others. And when you're in that state, prosperity will follow you. I'll give you an example. This past weekend, I'm just one person. I don't have a partner helping me out. When I went to go do this, this thing that I just did this weekend at the Cannabis Fest, I had someone to help me. One of my son's friends had helped me, but then the second day, she wasn't able to. And I was really contemplating just calling it off because I'm thinking there's no way I can be at my booth for the entire day and not be able to take a break, not with my 4 baby bladder. And I was telling a friend was going to allow me to borrow her van to pack everything up because I have a little tiny SUV. And once she realized that I had no one else to help me, she's like, I'll stay with you. I was like, well, don't you have to go to church and be with your husband? She's like, he is fine. I feel like I need to be there for you and help you. I'm going to help you. I was so blessed and so thankful. I mean, it was a gift. And even the day before, I had my friends from Shumei there. They were doling out free energy healings, Joe Ray, for people. My tent, it's like the universe was supporting me. That is what happens when you are making yourself, your heart, you're tending to your heart's fire, you're tending to your spiritual path, your life. It doesn't mean stuff won't happen. Stuff happens to you, things knock you over, but life will always be there to support you. And when you're tending to the flame of your heart and being conscientious about that, you are open to seeing the signs and omens around you. You are, and you know, you're also in a state of gratitude. And the more you're in that state of gratitude, the more life will show up to help you. And life is always there to help you, but the more you will recognize it. When you are not in your state of balance and you're not in the state of harmony, life is still around you to support you, but you don't see it. You don't see it at all. So, anyway, I digressed again. The I Ching indicates here that you increased your personal power by purifying your thoughts, actions, and attitudes. When you have done this long enough so that service of the true and good becomes the only goal in life, you come into complete harmony with the universe. As a result, you begin to have a far-reaching influence, shining on others as the sun shines on everything under the heavens. Because your power is so great, it is especially important to maintain correct attitudes and behavior now. Whew, that was a doozy. And it's important to to have correct attitudes and behavior, especially when you're going through difficult times in your life, when you're deciding that you're going to leave a toxic work environment, when you decide that you're going to leave a toxic relationship, or your ego wants to stand up and defend yourself. That's not correct behavior. That's not correct attitude. That's more of an inferior. That's inferior forces. When you remember who you are and you know who you are and you know your worth, your first response, maybe not always the first when you're first starting out, but your first or second response is no, nope, not going to indulge the inferior forces within me. I want to indulge, I want to engage the sage. I want to engage the superior forces in me. So it's like, instead of what would Jesus do, what would your inner sage do? Having attained a high position, you are wise to remain modest and generous toward others. Remember that it is the higher power who gives you your strength. Do not make the mistake of becoming proud, disdainful of others, or convinced of your ability to control events. By leaving the sage in charge, withdrawing from all inferior influences, and promoting the good wherever possible, you remain gracefully balanced and in harmony with the universe. Your peace of mind becomes permanent, and in this way, you come into possession of success and prosperity. That was beautiful. So let's remember this. Let's take this with us today. Let's engage our inner fire over heaven. You know what just came into my mind? If fire is the heart chakra and heaven is the crown, that is kokoro right there. That is the the heart and the mind, the consciousness, the heart and our brain coming together in complete balance. Ooh, I just got the goosebumps just thinking about it. You know, it's really interesting how you can read the I Ching. Like some people say they can read the Bible, and every time they read the Bible, they learn something new, they see something different. You know, you have the Proverbs, you have the Book of Psalms, any of it. You can find Buddha everywhere. You can find teacher and knowledge and wisdom everywhere. And I've noticed with the I Ching, and even with the Tao Te Ching, with the I Ching, every time I've gone through this, it's like it's becoming more and more and more open for me. And so now I see that the Ta Yu the fire over heaven that is indeed kokoro. It's true balance. And when you're in true balance, in true harmony with yourself, you cannot help but to be absolutely prosperous. So how apropos for this card to represent prosperity. So there you go. All right. So let's see. Last but not least, we're going to go ahead and call this live stream to an end. Let's just do a shamanic medicine card for today, and then we will be done. I am working on perfecting my shuffling skills. Okay, so we will do threes today. 2 and 3. Medicine bag, treasure. What's in your medicine bag? What keeps you in harmony? What seals up and heals up your soul? What reminds you of who you are? Medicine bag, treasure. You are being called to walk the medicine way. Gather up all the little artifacts, trinkets, photos, those things that carry special meaning for you, and select the most precious. Use these items to create your very own medicine bag. You add treasured memories into your bag by associating them with tangible objects. A found memory of the sea might be represented by a special shell. You may soon find this medicine bag. You may soon need this medicine bag to further your spiritual journey as protector and way shower. You will come into your power as one who can heal emotional wounds and help others to do the same. The medicine bag is most potent when worn around the neck, but can also be kept in a pocket, bag, attached to a belt, or somewhere sacred within the home. The strength, guidance, and energy you draw from it can always be accessed. It is important to remember and learn from your past experiences to create a brighter future. The medicine bag will help you remain calm when it comes to affairs of the heart. Medicine bag speaks. Adorn me with findings like feathers and jewels. I offer protection for your sacred tools. Placed around neck, wear me on your heart, connecting with spirit and never to part. What's in your medicine bag? What's in my medicine bag are the jewels that I choose to wear each day. For instance, this is a very symbolic reminder for me. You know, things are personal to each person. And it's not that these tools have the strength or power or whatever in and of themselves. No, they don't. We are a meaning making machine. We endow meaning into life. We endow sacredness into whatever, like Midas, everything you touch is gold. Everything that you touch is sacred. So what are your intentions? Set your intentions and how those items will help you and be there for you. And basically, it's like it's you reflecting back to you. So I've given this ankh meaning, and that meaning serves to remind me in those moments where I'm feeling not my best. This blue lapis, I've embedded this with my own meaning and what this means for me. And so when I hold this blue lapis in my hand, it reminds me of something very deeply personal to me. And it's what keeps me moving forward. So find those things that help you. It could be a rock. It could be something as simple as a rock or a penny that can be the medicine for you. All right, guys, I love you much. Enjoy your tea, your beverage. Mine is still warm, so I'm going to enjoy this and get my dishes washed. Take care. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. Please remember to thumbs up this video. Share it if you like. And if you'd like to support the channel, support, support me, support this channel. You're always welcome. Donations, Tamu and Gina at Venmo. Well, Venmo and then at Tamu and Gina, or a Cash App, the $, or another best way is to help spread the word about the channel. All right, guys, and have a glorious day. And let's see if I can get the Sleeping Beauty. She is completely knocked out. Her legs are up in the air and she's on my lap, and I'd love to just sit here and cuddle her all day, but I have work to do. I gotta wake up, Nala. Oh, I'm so sorry. There you go. All right. So I wish you peace and great bliss. And of course, as usual, the camera is not in the best position. There we go. All right. See y'all later.